Man, oh boy. Stargirl episode 10. Brainwave Jr., that's the title of the episode. What an emotional roller coaster this one turned out to be. I was not expecting a lot of what happened here. We got a lot of twists and turns, some certain things happening that I did not see coming, outcomes I wish didn't happen, and it was really, really fun. I think this is one of the coolest episodes of the entire season. And this season has been so good. Everything about it has been great. But this episode really spoke true to something I like about this show. And I liked it a lot. It was very enjoyable. So let's get into it. We start off this show seeing the meet cute, for lack of a better term there. It is a meet cute. It's very meet cute with Barbara and Pat and how they meet when they both are crossing through Blue Valley and how they meet each other at this diner. They both want a banana split, but there's not enough for them each to have one, so they decide to share one. Very cute stuff. In that scene, too, I thought it was very cool that we get to see a movie theater that's playing a couple classic references to some great stuff happening at DC Comics, like Strange Adventures. That's really cool. And Prez holy shit, I hit the comic. Prez gets a shout out in here too, and Prez is such a great run, such a cool story. I think that's incredibly unique and different. Great seeing those get a shout out here. This show and Jeff Johns, it's got to be Jeff Johns. He definitely knows when he's going to call back to something or reference something or throw an Easter egg in there. He definitely knows the stuff he wants to reference. So I think it's really cool and really unique and fun. It's so much fun. We left off last episode and Barbara found out what the consequences were for Pat and Courtney going about being the superheroes. She realizes he's Stripey, she is Stargirl. There are some actual consequences going on here now. She is furious at them for lying. She wants to know if their marriage even meant anything or what that was all about. And Courtney is still convinced that her father is Starman. And of course, Barbara's not convinced. She doesn't believe it for a second. Why would she? She knows this Sam guy for a long time. Like, why would that be Starman? And I think that's very interesting stuff. I think it is. It's like, I think this whole situation, it could have become very cliched, and I think the way it was handled is very cliched, but there's also a lot of interesting stuff in there. Pat is kicked out of the home. He's going to go sleep in the garage. While he's leaving, Mike sees him, and Mike's like, we've been through a lot, Dad. I'm not leaving you behind here. If you want to go, let's go. I'm coming with you. And Mike is just becoming a character who easily could have been delegated to the sidelines, but he's just really coming into his own and being something here that I wasn't expecting, because it's Courtney's story, and Mike could easily just be the annoying little brother, but he is pretty much the one in this family who's being nice to everyone, and he's trying to make it work, and he's being the most mature in some situations, and I'm loving Mike. He's a great character. His scene with Courtney, when the two of them are talking outside the garage house, and he's like, I know there's something going on with our parents, but I thought you were better than this. You could tell me the truth, right? You could tell me. That's what a big sister does. That's what siblings do. They talk to each other. And Courtney still can't tell him what's going on, which I really thought in that second. There was a brief moment in there I was like, oh, she's going to tell him. And I was like, I'm okay with that. I think that could be an interesting development. But she didn't tell him, so we moved past it, and it was fine. And now Courtney's just kind of telling her other teammates, I might have to move. My mom wants to leave Blue Valley, but we got to figure something else out here. And as that's going on, there's this another big part of the story. We got a lot of it in the previous episode, but in this episode too, Henry plays another key part in this episode. His father wakes up from a coma on the last episode. We realize that Henry has lost his memory of the past 10 years. He only remembers the moment where his wife died, and he's kind of stuck on that idea. And in those, we kind of learn he was maybe he was turning back to a side of good and heroics in a sense, instead of going down this path that Jordan was forcing him to go down. And then we kind of get this belief, and we think that Henry Jr. believes that Icicle killed his mother. And I think that's a very interesting storyline. So he goes to talk to Courtney, and they realize that Henry Jr.'s mother, was the sister of Starman. So if Courtney is the daughter of Starman, it makes Henry Jr. and Courtney cousins, which is very interesting stuff. I was not sure if this was something that happened in the comic books. I can't remember if it was. Really cool dynamic and something really cool to see. That could be a really interesting thing going forward if certain events didn't play out. Oh boy, what an episode this was. So yeah, our team decides we are going to go to the kind of base inside Cindy's house that we know is kind of connected to the Justice Society. Our whole team's going. Everyone on our team is going to go down to this base, and we're going to figure out the truth and find out what happened there. Courtney, Yolanda, Beth, Rick, and Henry Jr. is coming. And there's still kind of tension between Henry and the rest of the team. But Beth's kind of the one that brings them all together. It's like, we have to do this, even if it's just for Courtney. We have to figure out what's going on with Henry's father and get the cosmic staff back, because Courtney's trying to be nice to her mom. It's like, I'm not going to do the heroic stuff. Why would I risk my life there? But the cosmic staff's like, I'll do it. I'll just go out and investigate. Gets caught by Jordan and then locked up in Dr. Ito's facilities in the basement there. This is the part of the episode I was like, this is amazing. I am so happy this is happening. The fight scene in Dr. Ito's lab was incredibly fun. We have Henry, he's using his mind power, he's throwing everything around. Courtney's bouncing all around. She gets one of the swords or kind of a spear thing off the wall, and she starts using it as a weapon. Yolanda bouncing around his wildcat. That stuff looked incredible. They're taking out all like the lizard goon, whatever the hell those are. It was really fun, really good stuff. The choreography's amazing. I really hope that stuff doesn't change when they move over to the CW permanently. I don't think it will. But I just think like it looks good. Some of the best looking fight scenes on television or in superhero television history. It just is incredible to see. Henry does manage to free his father, but we learn in this instant that his father's idea to work for Jordan is not under like a spell or anything. It is his idea. He's going to work with Jordan. And we get the classic Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader stuff like, join me, son, and together we can be the best villains in the world. And we find out in that instant too that Henry's mother was killed by his father. So it wasn't Jordan that killed him, it was his father, because he had to make a choice to work alongside Jordan and make the world into their image, or what was going on there. Kills the mom. That's heartbreaking. Now Henry Jr. is no longer wanting to help his father. He's like, we have to go. Courtney gets her cosmic staff back. These people are ready to leave the entire room. They're done here. They're going to leave. And then, well, that's happening too. This was really interesting too. Rick and Beth are gonna try to investigate their own thing. Rick finds Solomon Grundy, and he is ready to kill Solomon Grundy. I was really expecting maybe we're gonna get this fight scene somewhere along the line. That could be really cool, but we kind of pulled back from it a bit, so that was very interesting too. I liked it a lot, and we'll get back to the final moments of this episode. But before that, we're going to go over to what was happening with Pat and Barbara in this episode. Now, their marriage is kind of on the rocks. Pat doesn't know what to do. So he's going to go over to the American Dream building and talk to Barbara. Like, I need you to leave town. I don't want to lose you, but I can't make you stay. And if you stay, I'm going to lose you in a way I'm not ready for. I'll feel a lot better with myself knowing you and Courtney are alive. So just leave, please. And as they're having this conversation, Jordan walks into the office with his parents. They're speaking in their Norwegian language. And you just kind of get this sense that Barbara needs answers. Like, she's really willing to get these answers. So she records the conversation to play later and translate to see what's really going on. So she knows what the truth is, and she figures out what the truth is because they get the translation. The mother's a son, like, she's a pretty girl, very smart. Too bad it won't matter once our plan goes to fruition or something like that. Very interesting stuff there. Barbara was really great in this episode. I loved seeing her. Something about her was just so fascinating and compelling. Amy Smart's a tremendous actress, so seeing what she did here was very fun, very cool. I liked every second of it. I thought it was well worth it. And as that's happening too, she is trying to see if maybe this Starman character is her ex-husband, who we don't know much about. And as that's going on, she is emailing him. She's emailing Sam. I can't remember his last name is. She's emailing him like, hey, there's something wrong with your daughter. It's Barbara. I don't know if you still use this email or not, but just reach out to me, please. And as Pat and Barbara leave the office, she gets a reply back from Sam. What's his name? Now, I don't want to say that it's going to be Joel McHale, but you got a guy like Joel McHale as Starman. You gotta use him for more than just the opening scene, right? Like, that's a named actor for the most part. That's a named actor. Is Starman gonna be alive? I'm not too sure. Maybe it's gonna be a Jack Knight type situation. I don't know. It could be very interesting to see how that's gonna play out going further down in this story. It could be I'm very curious to see what that's gonna be. And let's jump back to the moment that just like Henry Jr. became my favorite character. I think his story arc was very compelling, very interesting. He went from being afraid and scared to assertive and tough to being the hero at the end. And because of that, he pays the consequences, and he gets everyone to safety. The rest of the team gets to safety, but with his dad attacking, he is about to die, and he gets crushed under a bunch of rubble. Wow. And we end the episode with him under the rubble. There's no way he survived. Like, if he survived, I will be very shocked that was what happened. Brainwave Jr. died. Wow, that's really shocking to me. I don't know why I was just like, we went here in this show? That sucks, because I was like, don't do it, and they did it. I wish they didn't, but I understand why that happened. What a great ending for a great episode. I thought it was well worth the watch, well worth the fun, and I'm loving this show. 3 more episodes of this season, and I can't wait to see what comes of it. So thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and as always, you can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe. Good luck. Tsunami Studios.